I had no idea the British press was so bigoted.
This one's wife. Why is she still being given chances? Hello, I'm HG Tudor. I know that one of the things that infuriates many of you, or irritates you in respect of this one's wife, is the fact that she appears to be given chance after chance after chance to make something of her. You're left scratching your head thinking, how is somebody who is clearly so useless, untalented, charisma-free and unpleasant given repeated opportunities to achieve something? Many of you simply think it is unfair that this individual is being given chance after chance to succeed, whereas there are so many genuinely talented people who are never given the platform that this one's wife has been provided with. Well, I'm going to examine what's been going on with this one's wife, as always driven by her narcissism, and the outcome might actually surprise you and make you feel a little bit better about this one's wife. Let's start at the beginning, when she first came up on our radars. What was she? A mediocre actress, a blog operator, and a pleasure bot on a yacht, apparently. That was all that she had to offer, and she was trundling along, making a reasonable living from Suits, but that was coming to an end. We don't know what she made out of her blog. One suspects there was some advertising revenue and some freebies, but probably not at the level that she wanted. Accordingly, her narcissism drove her to try and find a method of elevating herself, not using Mint, but basically men, as she always has done. This led to the jackpot, with her joining the royal family. And so she gained fame, wealth, privilege, and access. But none of this was earned by her. She simply acquired this by marriage. Now, her narcissism wouldn't care in the slightest that it wasn't earned. Indeed, it would revel in the fact that she managed to gain all of these things by basically getting down on her knees. But this put her in this position. Thus, she's got herself in this elevated and privileged position, and as we all know, she fucked it up. So she then leaves the royal family in terms of being a working member. What's she now left with? She's got fame that has accrued as a consequence of her period within the royal family. She has wealth, but it's primarily Harry's. And supposedly, she's got oodles of royal gossips to share. The wealth from Harry can keep things ticking over, but more is needed. And therefore, she leverages the two things that she has in order to monetize them. First of all, her fame. Because she's internationally known and was a working member of the royal family, this enables her to say, people will be interested in what I've got to say. They will want to hear about me as a person who is famous. In the way that often people would like to know, for instance, a famous footballer, what are his likes and dislikes? You know this person, you followed them, you'd like to get to know more about them. Secondly, there is the promise of dishing the dirt on the royal family. I didn't sign anything, you recall her mentioning. Thus, there is the potential for royal gossip to be spread, to be shared. And therefore, she utilizes this, people will be interested in me because I'm famous and I've got royal gossip, to secure a contract with Spotify, a contract with Netflix, appearing on Oprah. It gives her the kudos to establish Archewell and receive donations. It enables her to attend the Invictus Games. At this juncture, appears to be sitting pretty. But Spotify, it takes her a long time to create anything, and it's basically shit, so she gets dropped. With Archewell, this is simply using other people's money to appear charitable. This enables her to produce PR puff pieces, making her look like she's kind, undertake some personal appearances on behalf of Archewell to talk to parents of children who've died as a consequence of internet bullying and then banged on about being a mother herself and make some rather eye-roll inducing speeches. But the fact is, this was all linked to charity, and people aren't going to turn down the offer of some free nappies or such like, and therefore Archewell provides her with an in. Oprah backfires. Many people don't accept what she has to say. Many people are horrified by the slandering behaviour that she engages in whilst Prince Philip is dying, and it starts to turn the worm, initially with Piers Morgan calling out her lies. With Netflix, they eventually produce Harry and This One's Wife, which garners a reasonable amount of views and would be regarded as a success. But it turns out that it's not so much about royal gossip and more a whinge-a-thon. So at this point, the royal gossip card has been played. What's she now left with? There's Invictus. This is Harry's vehicle, but as we know, because of her absence of boundary recognition and sense of entitlement, she will commandeer that for her own purposes. Invictus is a decent organisation of itself, unfortunately tainted by the behaviour of Harry and particularly This One's Wife, but it is an organisation that she can continue to use. But note, she didn't earn it. Again, she piggybacked it. There's attendance at awards ceremonies, but we know that with regard to many of these, they simply paid for an award so that they could come and make a presentation and perhaps deliver a speech. Those seem to have dried up as of late. She shifts to WME. They do their level best to breathe life into this already failing brand, but ultimately, as we have seen, this doesn't work. The PR puff pieces continue, but that doesn't arise out of her being talented. Those either occur because she's granting access to these organisations who can then utilise, we know this about This One's Wife in order to sell copies and advertising revenue, or she pays for these PR puff pieces. She makes a speech at Indianapolis, but this bums out and is never repeated. Nobody is interested in hiring her as a speaker. You'll recall, and she's still on it, a particular site where you can hire her. I should imagine that the inquiries are zero. She still has Netflix. Nothing is really happening with it, but she's still under contract. We also then have unwanted appearances, turning up at Uvalde, the parking lot pap walk, seeing her going hiking, the stress patch, turning up at a farmer's market. But all of this isn't her being given anything by anybody. She's generating those things. Note at this juncture, she has not been hired by any fashion houses. No cosmetic giants have extended a contract towards her. No modelling agencies are interested in using her. She hasn't got any voiceover work. No other podcast, for instance, Audible, has been interested in approaching her. There's no major sponsorship from anybody. No invitations to the Oscars, the Golden Globes, the Emmys, the Met Gala, and other heavyweight events. What's she now left with? Invictus. Again, that's Harry's. She hasn't earned it. Netflix. It's simply an ongoing contract. Heart of Invictus comes out. Doesn't do very well. Meet Me at the Lake is optioned. Never appears. The Polo programme appears. Widely panned. Her cookery show comes out. Widely panned. Note, these aren't repeated chances that she's being given. They are simply part of an ongoing contract that arose in 2020, which is to last for 5 years. Lemonada makes an appearance. However, this is a much lesser known outfit. We doubt that huge amounts of money have been spent, and initially nothing happens in relation to it. We also get the faux royal tours appearing, Nigeria and Colombia, but those appear to be one-offs. They've not been invited back, and it doesn't so far seem like any other invitations have been created by other countries saying, come and wander around our country for a little bit wearing inappropriate clothing. American Riviera Orchard is launched and immediately fails. So where does this leave us at the current time? There is the Netflix contract. It's the same contract as it has been ever since she left the royal family. Thus, she hasn't been given additional chances. They are just the manifestation of the same contract repeatedly. Lemonada comes out in April, but that's an existing contract signed from a couple of years ago. As Ever has launched as ARO 2.0, but there's still nothing that you can actually buy. There's no actual shops. There's no actual structured website to purchase anything. There's Invictus Games. That's Harry's gig. She's on Instagram. That's just her with a social media account. Yes, she still does interviews and PR puff pieces. They are either unpaid or she pays for them, but they are not contracts. They're not acting. They're not gigs that she's being given. The fact is, although it looks like she's being given chance after chance after chance, the reality is she isn't. Because where she's got to now is she has the same Netflix contract, Lemonada, which is an existing contract, As Ever, which she's created, but it's doubtful that'll go anywhere. Nobody's really given her a chance with that, and it's linked into the Netflix contract. Her appearances on Instagram are driven by her, ditto interviews and the like. Beyond that, nobody's offering her anything. As I mentioned earlier, no cosmetic giants have signed her up, no modelling agencies have signed her up, no fashion houses have signed her up. None of the big hitter events have offering invitations to her for her to go onto the red carpet. The reality is, she's not being offered anything at present. It's either existing contracts and her making a noise through Instagram and interviews. That's it. When the Netflix contract ends and the Lemonada series is over, all she's got left is As Ever. And we know that's not going to work. So what she's going to be left with after that? Because nobody is giving her any chances. Nobody's coming forward to suggest you be the face of our brand. We'd like to sign you up for a 5-year contract selling this perfume. There's nothing. As Ever may well seem like her last chance to do something substantial. What's she left with then after that? Going back to acting? As I've explained in separate videos, she's tried lots of different things and they've all failed. And that wasn't her being given chances by other people, it was her trying to generate things. The 40 by 40, entry into politics, her writing a book. Those were things that she pushed and they didn't go anywhere. Maybe she can go back to being a pleasure bot. Or might there be something else? Maybe something will come along. More likely at a much reduced level, less prominent, that something that's down on the C or D tier decides we can get her for a cut price in a little bit of a similar way to Lemonada. We know she's duff, but at least people will take an interest in her because they're watching the car crash. So we will get publicity from her, and if it costs us a couple of $100,000 to do it, then let's spend that money because we will get way more publicity than we would have done with an ordinary advertising campaign because so many people enjoy watching her car crash. To my mind, she will probably be able to get the lesser gigs still. She won't like it because it's far below the level she believes that she should be at. But nevertheless, there'll still be some takers because they will see in the way that Lemonada has done, we can bung a little bit of money her way and we'll get oodles of publicity because plenty of people want to see her fail. Or do you think she'll end up doing something else? Do you think that she will, with the money that still exists, attempt to create something afresh? But ultimately, although it does look like she's being given chance after chance after chance, when you break it down, it actually appears that she was given chances initially when she exited the royal family, but since then, it's really been more of the same, and thereafter, little else has actually come her way. I'm HG Tudor. Thank you for listening.